my name is Kennedy.
Hi, my name's Kennedy.
My name is Maddie. We're here with YLAG, working in the community, hoping to make a difference. And today we have our guest.
Cam, I go to Third Grade Marshall High School. Shout out to my mom and grandma, all them at the crib. Shout out to Young Life, too.
And the topic we're going to be talking about today is peer pressure. So the first question I have for everybody is, what age do you think peer pressure begins?
I would say peer pressure probably begins around like middle school. Well, I'd say like elementary, like second grade or something like that. Like you get people like daring you to do stuff and like, you know, if you do this or if you don't, then like you're, you know, the whole thing that people do. So I think it starts around like elementary.
I agree with Kennedy. I feel like that's when you kind of start to make your friends or friend groups and kind of like get into your own little clique. And then most of the people that you're hanging around are either doing the same stuff as you or like stuff that attracts you to those people. So yeah, I agree with you on that part.
I think the same way because I don't know. I'm taking AP psychology, and we're talking about that like around the age of like 10, 11, 12. Like that's when the morals change. So a kid goes from thinking that impressing their family is the most important to thinking that impressing their friends is the most important, which is I think why like bullying, peer pressure, I think that's why those things like begin to happen around that age.
I agree.
I agree.
My question is, what are some ways that you can stop peer pressure or like de-escalate peer pressure in a social setting?
I feel like as I've gotten older, I kind of realized where in some aspects of my life I was being peer pressured, where I was so caught up in like, okay, this person's like my friend, I like hanging around them, to the point where I was kind of like, dang, she be kind of doing stuff and then I be doing the same thing as her just because we're so close, you know? And then I think it was one time I was at school and I was talking to this girl and I was like, you can't do everything your friends are doing because they're not going to want you to get good grades like you wanted yourself to get good grades or anything like that. So you sitting over here skipping in the bathroom and she has good grades and you don't, you know? Like, I don't know. I think it's just a point where you kind of want to take care of yourself instead of being worried about having friends or who likes you. So
I think it's important to let somebody that's being peer pressured know that they really don't have to do like what they're being asked to do, and that not everybody thinks of them the same way. The people that are pressuring them into doing something are thinking of them. So if you're in like a setting where somebody's trying to get peer pressured to like drink or smoke, I feel like it's important that if you see that, you go up to that person and you're like, I know you feel like if you don't do this, like you're not cool, but not everybody thinks that way because But I feel like when people peer pressure others, it's not because they like want you to be like considered cool or they want you to have fun with them. I feel like it's preying on your downfall in a way because they know they're already doing something that's bad for them, and they see that you're doing stuff that's good for you, so they want you to get involved in doing stuff that's bad for you.
Yeah. And I also think that if you feel you're being peer pressured, then those people probably aren't your friends to begin with. If they're peer pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do, or like saying, oh, you're lame if you don't do this, or oh, I'm not going to talk to you if you don't do this. Because like, why would you want to be friends with that person in the first place if they don't want the best for you?
I feel like sometimes it's not always with malicious intent where people try to get you to do the same things as them. I think it's more so you should look at the person that you're, you know, surrounding yourself with like the bigger picture, and do they have respect for themselves? Do they value themselves? Because if they don't, then how are they going to be able to value you as a person? So, yeah.
Okay, I know us teenagers are, you know, we got more sense than little kids, so we know, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, we know when we're being peer pressured, or, feel me? Yeah, but like, little kids, how do you... Dang, I messed up. Hold on.
That's okay. Keep going.
How do you, what was I trying to get at right now?
Like, how do little kids tell they're being peer pressured? Or, like, how do you...
Yeah, like, how do you... Like, how is a little kid supposed to know? Like, they're being... Like, they're under peer... Like, they under pressure. And they just follow what their friends do.
I really don't think that most kids know. Because, like, you look at kids now and they're vaping. They think it's cool to be doing this, that, and the third. And some of it is influence from just, like, pop culture and the internet. But I think what it really starts out as is, one kid is exposed to this, or a group of kids is kind of exposed to this, and when they do it, they're seen as cool. And so when other kids, young kids, are peer pressured into doing something, they're not really aware of that. They're just like, I want to do this because I think it's cool. Less than when you're a teenager and someone's trying to peer pressure you to do something, you're more aware of like, this isn't something I should be doing. So I feel like that makes a difference.
I had the question, at what age do you think peer pressuring is less effective? But like, since you just said that, I kind of feel like as an adult, like peer pressure isn't effective, because at that point you kind of know who you are as a person, and you don't really, I don't think you really like look at other people's lives and are just like, I want to do that because it's going to make me successful, or it's going to make me look cool. Like, you're more, you're not really focused on those kind of things. I don't know, but
I agree, because I'm saying another AP Psych thing here. But the next phase after that phase where, like, you think your friends are the most important and impressing other people is the most important, there's, like, a phase in morality where you really only care about what you think is important and, like, what you consider to be things that are of value to you, or things that are, like, valuable for your time. And I think that's why peer pressure is less effective on adults, because adults don't care as much what other people think of them. They're more worried about what they want to do.
Work.
They're more getting up for work, getting those bills paid, doing what they want to do necessarily, rather than what other people want them to do.
I had the question of how to say no to peer pressure without feeling like guilty about it, because I know like it can make you feel like if someone's telling you continuously like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you, you're going to be like, well, this is my friend, I want them to talk to me, so I feel like I have to do this. But I think there's a way for you to set boundaries, and I think that's where boundaries come into play with like friendships and stuff, and learning that like if I don't want to do something, I don't have to do it. And then if that person's like trying to make me do it, then like I shouldn't talk to them, or maybe have a conversation with them like, this made me uncomfortable, I didn't want to do this, and you tried to force me. Like, I still want to be friends with you, but I think we need to set some boundaries.
Yeah, I agree. I think boundaries are really important in any relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic, because a lot of people that you come across in life are going to really try to play you. Like, they're going to try to play like you a fool. Like, like they will really try to make you almost like a pet to them. Like, you just do what they do, and you're not going to sit there and tell them that they're wrong, but who will,
Right.
Like, and that's all you surround yourself with. You're going to think that's right. And just like how we were talking about, like, when you're younger, and then you kind of grow out of that stage of seeking your parents or like your family's validation, and you seek more of friends or popularity type. I think it's good to still reflect and look back on like the things that your parents still told you and taught you, because then it can kind of set that boundary in your mind, like, okay, this is not right. Knowing right from wrong will make it easier to set those kind of boundaries, I feel like, and be comfortable in them, because you're doing the right thing.
So my question was, have any of you guys experienced peer pressure?
Yeah.
Of course.
I guess we can just go around and like share our stories about it. But I mainly feel like my experiences with peer pressure was that I would have friends that would like say, oh, I guess it's okay, like, if you don't do this. But then when you say not to do it, then they like act funny, right? They're like, okay then, right? They don't talk to you. They kind of like close you out. And I felt like the fear sometimes of like not doing the thing and having friends be mad at me was like a reason why I felt that sense of pressure. So I understand that like that's why a lot of people go through peer pressure with that, because they feel like they're going to get shut out and closed off from their friends.
I had an experience with peer pressure around, like, I think it was elementary, and I was friends with these girls, and they, like, were, like, they, like, would talk about each other, but then they would, like, be friends, and then, like, I didn't want to talk about everyone in the group, because obviously, like, this is my friend, and they were like, well, that's fine, and then I didn't go to a birthday party, and then, like, all stopped talking. They, like, shunned me, basically, and, like, stopped talking to me, and said that I was taking someone else's side, but I was like, I wasn't. So it was a whole thing, and I just felt peer pressured to, like, talk about this person, but then be friends with this person, talk about this. So it was like a whole like huge like messy thing that was going on. I'm getting out of that, as I'm a junior, so it it was like a hard situation because you know like the whole like being like no one talking to you thing. But after I realized like I don't really would like to have those people around me, then it was like I don't really care.
Yeah.
I feel like at school it's so easy to like get peer pressure. There's so many different kind of people around you and like people you surround yourself with. But I would say, I don't know if I want to be too specific, but it's there's been multiple times where like people have made me feel uncomfortable like with trying to have me do something, and then like I just don't know how to say no sometimes though. So I'll just be like, you know what, like, you know, forget it. Or like let's say it's a school night and they talking about we about to go hang out at so and so's house. I'm there because I have FOMO sometimes, and I used to really like have a big fear of like missing out on things that my friends were doing together. So I'm like, I gotta be there, Mom. Like she's mad at me. I'm not getting an assignment done, but hey, I was there. I was there last night. So
I fell victim of peer pressure. Somebody. 3rd grade, elementary school, in Cincinnati. I had a friend. His hair was like wild, like crazy, and I wanted to cut his hair with some scissors. He kept telling me, like, no, I don't want to do it, I'm gonna get in trouble. I was like, man, you lame.
So were you the peer pressure, or were you the peer pressure?
I was the peer pressure. He got peer pressure.
Okay.
Roles reversed.
I cut his hair, then I cut him off. I ain't talk to him no more. Cause he got me in trouble. Told on me.
Cut his hair. I mean, why do you think you like told him to like? Why did you like want to cut his hair? Or like, why did you tell him like, oh, you're lame if you want to let me cut your hair?
I wanted to cut his hair.
I'm weak.
It was just something I wanted.
Yeah. I think I've been in this situation too where I was maybe like the peer pressure, but I didn't realize it because I feel like I have multiple different pockets of friends. So I have some friends that are, you know, a little more out there than others. And I think we were like just going around and we were like kind of sharing like secrets, like more personal information. And one of my friends, she like hinted at something like that say like most teenagers know is common knowledge, but she was like, haha, like I didn't know this. Right. And I was like, well, tell us what you didn't know. And she really didn't want to, and I really wanted her to. So I was like, come on, like tell us. And I realized now that probably wasn't cool because she didn't want to share that information. Like it really wasn't that deep. So
I've definitely been that person before. I'll be like, girl, why don't you just tell me what you're talking about?
Like, I'm like, why are you gatekeeping?
Yeah, why are you gatekeeping? Like, just tell me what you're talking about. It's not that serious. The whole time, like, you can't sit there and tell anybody how to feel about their emotions or information or personal life. Yeah. Like, it's kind of insensitive, but I mean, it's good to be self-aware though and know that. But I can be insensitive sometimes.
Yeah, I can be insensitive sometimes too, and I look back and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I used to do that. Like, there used to be like situations that had like nothing to do with me, but I would want to know, like, what's the tea? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, and no, like they wouldn't want to tell me, and I'd be like, well, why can't you tell me? Like, you're weird. And then I realized probably because it wasn't my business, and I should have minded my business. But yeah, I've kind of learned that like, if it doesn't have anything to do with me, then I probably don't need to know about it. So it's like within like being the peer pressure, it's just like maybe just take a step, like try to think of like maybe why they didn't want to tell you, and then just trying to like not feel some type of way about it, because like not to take everything personally, or like what probably wasn't personal to you or like a personal attack at you. It was just that like maybe they just didn't want you to know.
Yeah. And another perspective of being the peer pressure. Like, I would be the one to be like, girl, you being lame right now. Like, why don't you want to, like, you know, why don't you want to go here? Why don't you want to do this? But, like, you know, not everybody owes you an explanation. It's like, you know, within yourself, you don't owe everybody else an explanation. So, sometimes just to say, it's fine just to say, okay, like, and take a step back, like you said, Kennedy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's one time, like, where you guys felt like you were being peer pressured, and, like, how was your response? Like, and, like, what was that person's reaction?
I think I was at a birthday party, and there was like, I'm trying to think of what exactly. Okay, so like we were at a birthday party, and there was like the like kids drinks, and there was like the adult drinks, and so these like kids I was with, they were like, come on, let's sneak some drinks. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not gonna do that. And they're like, why not? Like, no one's gonna know. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna know, and like I'm gonna like feel terrible about it. And they just were like, continuously trying to get me to do, and I'm like, no, I don't want to. And they're like, fine, you're lame. Like, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go do it. And I was like, well, you go do that then. And I didn't say anything to anybody, but it just like, you know, made me feel left out a little bit. But then I realized, like, I'm a kid. Like, I was a kid. Like, there's no reason for me to be doing this. That's y'all. So yeah, that was probably like one time that I can remember.
I think my most recent time was, it wasn't like the middle of the pandemic, but it was like when it was starting to chill out. My friends and I went out to eat, and 2 of us are our color and 2 of us are palm colored. And so after we left the restaurant, the 2 palm colored friends wanted us to jaywalk across Main Street to like get to the other side. And so I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, it was dark. It was dark outside too, so I was like, there's no way
we're gonna get hit.
I was gonna get hit. And they were so like they were like, oh, come on, like, you're being scary, it's not that deep, like, just cross the street. And so, you know, the 2 of them, they went on across, and me and my other friend stayed on the side. And so we just walked like parallel down the way, because I was like, you must be crazy, you must be joking. So you're running across Main Street at night, like, it's wild.
Okay, so this happened like 3 months ago. I had a friend. They not my friends, but he had his friends, his peoples. They came up with a plan. They like, I want to drive to Columbus. They asked me to go with them. I told them no, I ain't going to Columbus. They, you being scared, you lame, you feel me? I'm not going to Columbus. So they like, they're like, all right, forget you. We gon', feel me? We probably gonna find somebody else to take your spot. They had left. Like 10 minutes later, I get a call from my homie. He opened your back door. I open my back door. Him, his mama, his dad, all them people. They at my back door. They running the house. I'm like, what happened? They're like, the police just chased us. They was like, whatever type of sense you had to not go to Columbus or do whatever, you was right. I said, I know. And it was just.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes when you do say no, you miss out on not, like, you know, what the other people you thought were gonna have fun were doing. Like, you don't have to go, you know, you don't have to experience everything to really go through it. Like, y'all told me the story, gotcha. Won't be going next time either.
Like, just sometimes it's better to not being put in situations like your example. Like, that could have been something crazy. Like, y'all could have got arrested. Like, that just happened to one of my friends, actually. I'm not even going into details. But, yeah, like, was somewhere it shouldn't have been and ended up, you know.
Yeah. But
just sometimes it's cool to, like, and if you feel like you don't want to go or something's telling you not to go, then just don't.
Yeah. That happened with after prom, actually. There was like a school like sponsored after prom event, and then there was a party. And I mean, my parents are strict, so it's not like I was going to be allowed to go to the actual party. So my friend and I went to the after prom, and we expected nobody to be there. Everybody was there because in less than 5 minutes the party got shut down by the police. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
So, do y'all think peer pressure is overhyped? And not like not overhyped like in a good way, but like do people talk about it in a sense that makes you think that like it doesn't happen as much as people make it out to be?
Yeah, it's like over exaggerated. No, I don't, because I could be a peer pressure, or I see peer pressure happen all the time, you know, and it's hard to notice it. Like, even as a younger kid, some people really just aren't self-aware. Like, they're so caught up in, you know, trying to fit a certain persona or be a certain kind of person that they're not really even aligned with their morals or like what they want to be in the future. So they're like, you know, living in the moment literally and doing everything that doesn't benefit them, that won't benefit them tomorrow or in a week or whatever, you know. So yeah, I don't think it's over exaggerated at all. Like, I don't think we talk about it as much as we do, like we should in high school anymore, but we used to talk about it all the time in elementary school, like peer pressure this, peer pressure that. So
yeah, I think it's pretty common and happens probably almost every day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like the examples or like the skits and stuff you see probably are like over exaggerated.
I think some of those do over exaggerate.
And I feel like it makes it like seen as not as serious as it can be. So yeah.
I mainly ask this question because there are situations that I like prepared myself for to be peer pressured and then just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get offered some sort of substance and you're like, nah, I'm cool. And they're like, you better than me.
Yeah.
Or they're like, more for me. And I'm like, that's
More
it.
for you.
That's it. You're not going to tell me I'm lame or anything.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know if, like, my experiences, like, matched up. If y'all have ever been in a situation where you thought you were going to get peer pressured, but you, like, really didn't.
No, I've literally been cornered, like, at school, and people are so weird. Like, I literally be like, all right, get out my face.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, people at school really be wild, and, like, it'd be 7 o'clock in the morning, like, and they come into school with a bottle of Patron. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, are you not tired?
Like, get it out of here.
Like, are you not
Right.
tired, bro? Like,
And some of them think it's a flex, too. Like, they actually think
Yeah.
they're cool for doing that. And it's like,
And I think another part with that is, like, a lot of people just probably aren't giving into peer pressure because they realize how lame it actually is. And, like, certain stuff that people want you to do is, like, this is actually really lame. It doesn't benefit me at all. And I think, like, a lot of people are becoming more self-aware and, like, more just, like, realizing, like, this is, like, not fun. As like,
Yeah.
or, like, not as hyped up as it seemed to be.
I feel like those people are, like, the people who are really just genuinely comfortable with themselves. Like, they don't seek the validation of others to the point where they have to do stuff outside of their norms or what they've been taught or told. Because, I mean, I feel like I used to be that person. Like, I used to be just living my life. And then, I mean, as to a certain point, I was just like, dang, like, what do I want to do after high school? Like, my life doesn't stop here. And, like, it's not just going to be able to stay the same forever. I have to do grown-up things. I have to mature, you know? And a part of maturing is realizing you're your own person and you are going to live your own life. Like, you can't, you can't let anybody else live it for you. And as soon as you start acting like other people or following what they're doing, like, that's when you start to, like, not live for yourself.
Yeah.
So.
I think social media has played a good role in it too. Like, I feel like they've normalized being normal. Like, you see more high school, like, you see that it's in now to, like, actually be on top of it and take care of yourself. Getting good grades is in now. Like, people actually, you don't get called a nerd no more. Sometimes you do, but getting good grades is in. Like, you see teenagers posting regular routines. You see teenagers posting taking care of themselves and taking care of their bodies and eating healthy and exercising. So I'm glad that some of that has happened because I think it is making teenagers at least less susceptible to peer pressure because they see that, like, you can still, like, what's really cool is actually, like, getting your life together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Cam, what do you think about it?
Now I got a question.
Okay.
Do y'all think, like, the majority of people that be peer pressure, like, y'all think they know they peer pressure somebody? Or,
No.
like, be most of it?
Probably not when they do it. I would say not when they do it.
Like, do y'all think y'all ever peer pressure somebody without actually, like, just thinking back on it now? Like, I probably.
Yeah, thinking back on it, like, I've realized that I probably peer pressured somebody. But when I was doing it, like, I wouldn't have thought that I was doing it. So I think that most people don't know that they're peer pressuring. There are some differences, like, sometimes it's apparent that, like, they really want you to do this thing. Like, when they're like, I won't talk to you anymore if you don't. Like, okay, why are you threatening me? Like, you have ulterior motives. But other times, I definitely think that they're just not aware.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's a lack of awareness. Like, because, you know, we can all be unaware at times. But when I see people who are just, like, constantly, like, you know, like, they'll put themselves around people they know don't do the same things as them or have things in common with them, and they'll still get them to try to, like, be confined by their actions or what they do. And it's weird. It's so weird. It's like, do you want a clan or a cult?
Right.
Like, why do you want everybody to do the same things as you? Like, I don't know. I could be friends with somebody who does not do the same things as I, but we have different things in common, or I like their goals in life, so I can see myself getting along with them. But I'm not gonna sit over there and be like, hey, like, you trying to go to this party this weekend? Like, I know you don't do that, you know? Like, I'm just gonna, we gonna talk when we talk, and that'll be that. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a good, like, way to keep peer pressure out of friendships is when you respect each other's boundaries and respect the fact that, like, things about you are different. So if one person in the friendship is, like, that's one thing I learned is that, you know, this friend of mine, like, I know she's just not the type that, like, likes to share all that personal information. So I stopped asking. Or if you have a friend, like you said, like one friend likes to party, another one doesn't, the friend that likes to party isn't going to constantly keep asking the friend that doesn't like to party to go party. Yeah. So I think that's an important thing too.
I think with friendships, it's also important to, like, know that, like, you're not entitled to know all of your friends' business, if that makes sense. Because I had an issue with that, like, a while ago, and then I realized, like, they're not entitled to know my whole life, and I'm not entitled to know their whole life. So, like, with, like having your friend tell you something that they may not want to tell you, and you feel some type of way, it's like, maybe it's not a personal attack on you. It's just, like, they just don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
You're not, like, obligated to know. So... yeah, I've been learning that slowly. And it's actually helped me, like, not feel, like, some type of way about my friends or, like, not get offended when someone doesn't want to tell me something. Because, like, there's certain stuff that I don't tell everybody. So it's just, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I feel like when I used to give myself to people, like, I would tell them my information. And if they weren't, like, doing the same things to me or, like, confiding in me, I'd be like, what did I do wrong? But I seen something that was just, like, everybody's selfish. And everybody's always living for themselves. So just because... somebody's not doing what you like or you think how they should be treating you, it's not a personal attack. It's more so just they're being selfish. They're living their life. They're not thinking about how you feel 24/7. So, yeah.
Quickly, I wanted to ask y'all, like, how do you think peer pressure, like, affects romantic relationships, especially on teenagers?
I feel like, especially with, like, sex, like, it can be, especially with your friends, too, like, you can think something's so normal and then it's just not, like, it's really not, like, just anything sexually active and you're like, oh, I got a kiss, and then your friend's like, girl, that's all y'all did?
Right. The peer pressure to, like, do something more, or, like, it's...
or, like, make you seem like, oh, that's it. Like, you know.
Right.
And it's just like, yeah, that's it.
They kind of invalidate you. Or one time, I was upset about, like, a talking situation that didn't work out. And they were like, y'all didn't even, like, do anything. Like, why are you even feeling some type of way? And I'm like, so now emotional connections don't exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is crazy. That it's made its way into romantic relationships, too. And I really hope that, you know, people know that, like, even in a romantic relationship, too, it's still important to realize when you're being peer pressured, because your romantic partner is still, they should be your peer. They shouldn't be older than you, like, by too much. But you shouldn't feel that pressure from them either to do anything. Like, it's still peer pressure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because they got it bad.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Trying to think.
Do y'all think peer pressure and bullying is the same?
And what bullying? No. I don't
they
think
could
so.
go, like, together, but, like, I don't think they're the exact same thing.
I think peer pressure could evolve into bullying if it's consistent. Like, if the same person is consistently being peer pressured and threatened, like, for not doing the same thing by the same people, like, if they're constantly, like, so you're still not going to do that. You're so lame. You're, like, every single day. I think it can evolve into bullying, but I think they can be two separate things.
Yeah, because after you add the you're so lame and all that, now you're talking crazy. So I think you're bullying me.
Yeah.
And if you keep doing that, you're definitely bullying me. But, yeah. And even if it's a negative, like, just a way of speaking. Like, if you speak to somebody negatively and, like, you know, somebody, like, you might think in your class is, you know, lame or weird or whatever, and you have a group of friends in that class, you might not think you're peer pressuring them to, you know, talk to that person or perceive them the same way, but you have an impact on, you know, how people look at you or what you are to other people. So if you're making it normal, then, of course, they're going to think that it's okay to do something. So I think that's another way of indirectly peer pressuring people around you.
Yeah.
So...
All right. So, thank you all for listening to our podcast today. Again, we are YLAG, Young Ladies Aspiring Greatness, working in the community, hoping to make a difference. And we want to thank you, Cam, for being our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you.